Welcome to this episode of Locked In. I'm going to be reviewing the Ritchey Logic Beacon handlebars. So if you're looking for a shallow drop, shallow reach, and maximum flare gravel bar, this video is for you, so please stay tuned and subscribe if you haven't already. So in this video, I'm going to be going over the specs of these bars, setup, price, and my final thoughts. So let's get into the specs and features of the Ritchey Beacon bar. Now they do offer the bar in a comp and WCS version. The WCS version that I tested is a triple butted 6160 aluminum. It has what they call their anatomic bend shape as well as their ergonomic top section. They come in a 40, 42, 44, and 46 centimeter width. The drop is a very shallow 80 millimeters and the reach is 65 millimeters. So the drop flare is 36 degrees, the flare out is 6 degrees, and the back sweep for the top section of the bars is 4.5 degrees. These are also compatible with clip-on aero bars as well as the Shimano junction box and Ritchey's own C260 stem, and the weight for the WCS version that I tested was 270 grams. Now as far as setting these bars up, obviously they have a lot of range of angle and degree that you can put your shifter hoods at compared to the drops. How I typically set up most drop bars, and this seems to work pretty well for me and I still will fine-tune them, is I will set up the drop bar itself as far as the angle of the drops that I do like while sitting in the saddle. Once that's dialed in, I will then lock down the bar to the faceplate. Then I will move the shifters back and forth to get the angle that I do prefer. Now typically for most bars, and this is not necessarily the case for Ritchey, and this is just my opinion, not theirs, is I typically like to set the bar end angle and the shifter hood angle to be pretty similar. They don't have to be spot on as far as the angle that they sit at, but I like them to be pretty close, and that's just what works well for me and my body type. But you can try that for yourself and see if you can set these if that's what works for you. Now after that, I always recommend reuse your old bar tape if you can before the first ride or two in case you want to tweak them as you go, especially for the first few rides on your new bars. And after that, I've taken them out and I put hundreds of miles on them and really do like them so far. But that's going to lead me first into price. Price for these bars in this WCS version is $104.95. Now it is an alloy bar, and I know to some that might seem expensive, but considering the weight at 270 grams, there are some carbon gravel bars that are basically that weight that are going to be way more money. And with an aluminum bar, obviously they're going to be more impact resistant and more durable than a carbon fiber bar. So if you really consider all those facts, I think this price point is honestly really great. And they do make this in a comp version that is cheaper at $49.99. So if that price point is keeping you away, you're only going to be adding a little bit of weight. But as far as the overall shape of the bar, it is going to be the same. But if you can only spend 50 bucks, you can pick up a set of their comp Beacon bars. So that's going to lead me into my final thoughts of these bars. Honestly, I've been really happy with them after setting them up. Now it takes me about a ride to two rides to really dial in any bars that I ride. And after that, I really did like how this really affected the bike, and the shallower drop and aggressive bar angle is a little bit of something to get used to, and it took me a few rides to kind of find my, let's call it my home position, or where I like to be when on the hoods and in the drops. But once that was figured out, I was starting to use the drops way more often than I did on my salsa cow chippers, which is the bar I've been riding for quite a while. And having that shallow drop with that aggressive kind of ramp into where your braking and shifter are really does give you that confidence and leverage to really manipulate the bike when in the drops that I never really did before, because even on a shallower drop bar, I would still be so low that I felt like I was almost over the front end, maybe a little bit too much sometimes, but I found myself really using the drops of these bars quite a bit more than I normally would. So that leverage increase is going to give you way more confidence and way more steering feel when descending in the drops. And again, that shallow 80 millimeters is a lot shorter than most bars on the market, so that's not going to put you as low of a position, so you're more likely to use it compared to some other drops on the market. Now the 36 degree flare, you can see in all my footage of my POV stuff, that obviously the hoods are quite a bit canted in. Now that's not for everybody, and I totally understand that. It did take me even a few rides to kind of get used to it, but I don't mind it as much, and I really don't think about it anymore. Now these bars with the back sweep and everything on them, I think have about 4 comfortable positions that I really do enjoy. Now that's going to be your drop position, then it's going to be obviously your hood position. I like kind of setting my hands back and putting my palms in the kind of corners of the drops, and with that back sweep there, I think it's more comfortable than a traditional 90 degree angle that most bars will have. Then obviously you have your tops. And with this slight back sweep to the tops, I think it's a little bit more comfortable for your wrists because it puts them at a more neutral angle. So I did like riding there as well, a lot more, again, than I typically would do with a round bar. So I definitely think that this is on the more aggressive end as far as flare and kind of look for the bars. But I think they really do serve a function and serve a purpose in the basically myriad of gravel bars that are out there on the market. So if you're looking for something that you really want to shallow up that drop so you can use the drops more often, because there is an advantage to doing that. And you want to shorten the reach to make the handling a little bit quicker and a little bit more precise for you. I think this is the bar to go with, and definitely check it out, especially with the great weight that it runs at for this price point. And again, there's a more affordable price point as well if needed. The only thing I could say is if you are a road biker or looking for something that you're riding a lot of road and gravel on, with that shallower drop, you're not going to be able to get as low on the front end. So if you like sitting in the drops to kind of get out of the wind, this isn't going to physically drop you as much. You're going to have to use a lot more of your elbows to physically drop your body a little bit more than relying on a deeper drop section handlebar. That's really the only thing I can say to keep in mind if you're using this bike as your road and gravel bike, that if that's something you do a lot, you're going to have to start tucking your body much more and not relying on the depth of the handlebar. But that's really it. And I don't think that is a downside. It's just obviously a compromise for whatever style bars that you go with on any bike that you ride. And that's it. If you have any comments, please make sure to comment in the comments below what Ritchey bars you're running, or is there a set that you think I should review next? Please put that in the comments below. I check them every single day, as well as turn notifications on so you can see all the cycling content I produce on this channel every single week, as well as you can follow me on Facebook and Instagram. Links for those and my Spreadshirt and Patreon are in the links below. And lastly, thanks for watching this episode of Locked In. Let's get